They said the WWE ring had seen it all, until tonight. Out of the smoke, out of the lights, came a face nobody expected. Steven Seagal's daughter. The crowd froze, jaws dropped, and in that single moment, wrestling history changed forever. For more than 3 decades, Steven Seagal has carried an aura that few in Hollywood could match. He was the action star who didn't need flashy words or exaggerated stunts. His calm, deliberate presence alone demanded attention. Every strike, every stare, every slow movement seemed to whisper a message. He was not a man you underestimated. His films turned him into a living legend of martial arts, a figure who blurred the line between screen persona and real strength. People saw him as untouchable, the quiet warrior whose mysteries were as compelling as his fights. Yet, beneath all the headlines, his personal life remained a locked door. Unlike other celebrities who fed the tabloids, Seagal chose silence. Rumors occasionally surfaced, hints of relationships, whispers about children, fragments of family stories that quickly vanished into obscurity. Fans speculated, but there were no clear answers. The man who lived in the spotlight carefully shielded his own world from it. And that is why, when whispers spread that his daughter had appeared in a WWE arena, the shock was instant. The idea alone felt unreal. Wrestling fans and moviegoers alike could not comprehend the connection. Steven Seagal, the silent warrior of Hollywood, and his hidden daughter suddenly standing in the loudest, most theatrical stage of them all? It was the kind of twist no scriptwriter could invent. In that moment, questions erupted everywhere. Who is she? Why now? Why here? The mystery had finally cracked open. The night was already electric. Fans had packed the arena, expecting another predictable showdown filled with music, pyrotechnics, and rehearsed drama. But just as the co-main event was about to begin, something unexpected happened. The screens went black. The familiar blast of entrance music never came. Instead, silence swallowed the stadium. For a moment, no one moved, no one breathed. Thousands of people sat frozen, waiting for the cue that never arrived. Then came the sound, a sharp, rhythmic clack echoing through the darkness. Wooden training sticks striking against each other, each beat carrying a pulse that rippled through the crowd. Whispers spread in waves. Who is this? What's happening? Cell phones lit the stands as people tried to capture what they couldn't yet see. A single spotlight cut through the void, revealing a figure at the top of the ramp. No sequins, no theme music, no theatrical gear. Just a woman in a plain black G, calmly rolling her shoulders as if this were another sparring session. The contrast was jarring. In an environment built on spectacle, she offered none. The audience erupted in disbelief. Was this part of the show? A last-minute replacement? The announcers fumbled for answers, their voices trembling with the same confusion as the fans. Every second stretched longer than the last. And then, without a single word, she started walking toward the ring. That quiet, deliberate entrance felt heavier than any explosion of fireworks could. Shock had officially replaced silence. For years, Steven Seagal's name had been synonymous with Hollywood action, martial arts mastery, and a carefully maintained mystique. But in all that time, almost nothing had been said about his family. Interviews dodged the subject, gossip magazines came up empty, and fans assumed his private life was locked away behind iron doors. That's why the woman who walked into the WWE ring that night felt like a ghost stepping out of the shadows. Whispers began to circulate almost instantly. Could that really be his daughter? The idea alone was hard to process. If she existed, why had no one ever heard of her before? Unlike the children of other celebrities, there were no headlines, no red carpet appearances, no magazine features. She hadn't grown up under flashing lights. She had grown up in silence. Stories began to surface from unexpected corners. A handful of martial arts circles in Asia spoke of a young woman who entered underground tournaments under false names. Grainy footage hinted at precision, a style blending her father's famous techniques with something far more raw and personal. Still, no mainstream coverage had ever picked it up. It was almost as if she had chosen to disappear from the start. That decision made the moment all the more powerful. Her entrance wasn't just shocking because of what she did. It was shocking because no one even knew she existed. She wasn't chasing her father's fame. She was creating a legend of her own, from the shadows to the spotlight. In a world like WWE, larger-than-life personalities rule the stage. Bright outfits, scripted catchphrases, and showmanship define nearly every superstar. But the moment Steven Seagal's daughter stepped into the ring, it was clear she didn't fit that mold. There were no glittering robes, no fireworks, no choreographed taunts. Instead, she wore a plain black G, her expression calm, almost unreadable. While others shouted for attention, she carried silence like a weapon. The contrast was jarring. Audiences were used to wrestlers who relied on theatrics to capture the crowd, but she didn't need it. Every movement spoke for her. Her posture radiated discipline. Her strikes carried precision, and her calm composure unsettled even the most seasoned fans. It wasn't wrestling as entertainment. It was combat as art. Commentators scrambled for words, trying to place her within the WWE universe. But the harder they tried, the more apparent it became that she wasn't like anyone else. She didn't smile for the cameras, didn't soak in the applause. Instead, she treated the ring like a dojo, the match like training, and her opponent like nothing more than the next challenge to overcome. In that difference lay the magic. She wasn't rejecting WWE traditions out of arrogance. She was rewriting what it meant to be a star. Fans weren't just watching a newcomer. They were witnessing someone break the stereotypes that defined the industry, and in doing so, she earned awe and admiration that no scripted gimmick could ever buy. The bell rang, and the arena fell into a silence so sharp it almost felt rehearsed. Across the ring stood a reigning champion, confident and smirking, certain this mystery newcomer would be little more than a sideshow. But the first exchange shattered that illusion. A sudden forearm strike snapped like a gunshot, sending the champion stumbling back. The crowd erupted, half in disbelief, half in awe. What followed wasn't the usual slow build of a WWE spectacle. It was a storm. She moved with the grace of a martial artist, not a showman. Judo throws tossed her opponent across the mat with startling precision. Each counter came with perfect timing, as if she'd studied this exact moment 1,000 times before. The commentators, normally quick with jokes and catchphrases, found themselves scrambling to keep up, their voices cracking with every shocking reversal. Then came the moment that silenced even the loudest skeptics. With the champion charging forward, she executed a spinning elbow strike so fast the cameras almost missed it. In the same motion, she hooked into a flawless hip toss that sent her opponent crashing against the ropes. The referee paused, unsure whether to continue. Fans rose to their feet, sensing they were witnessing something unforgettable. By the time the final blow landed, a liver kick that folded the champion in half, the audience wasn't just cheering. They were roaring, aware they had seen the start of something that would echo far beyond one night. The crowd's reaction was almost as electrifying as the match itself. At first, there was a ripple of confusion, whispers running through the seats as fans tried to piece together who this mysterious fighter was. Then, as the first shocking strike landed, gasps echoed through the arena like waves crashing against steel. It wasn't just surprise, it was disbelief. People leaned over to strangers, eyes wide, asking the same question. Who is she? Within minutes, chants began to rise. At first scattered, then swelling into a unified roar, the audience called her name again and again, even though many had only just learned it seconds earlier. Every move she made pulled a louder reaction. Cheers when she countered, gasps when she struck, stunned silence when she stood completely still, staring her opponent down. Phones lit up the stands, screens recording, streaming, sending the chaos to every corner of social media. Comment sections filled in real time, fans screaming in capital letters, "This can't be real." Some clutched their heads in disbelief. Others jumped to their feet, fists pumping as though they were part of her victory themselves. The noise wasn't just volume. It was raw energy, a collective realization that something extraordinary was unfolding before their eyes. By the time the final move landed and the champion collapsed, the arena felt less like a wrestling event and more like history being written. The audience hadn't just watched a debut, they had lived it. The moment the arena lights dimmed and the echoes of her victory faded, the true storm began. Not in the ring, but behind the curtain. Backstage corridors buzzed with frantic voices, hurried footsteps, and hushed phone calls. WWE staff members exchanged knowing looks, some whispering as though they'd just witnessed a carefully guarded secret escape into the world. Reporters who had been stationed outside the locker rooms rushed to confirm what they'd seen. Within minutes, tweets and breaking news alerts flooded timelines, each headline more dramatic than the last. Steven Seagal's daughter in WWE? Hollywood meets wrestling in shocking debut. No one had an official statement, but the speculation alone was enough to keep the story spinning at full speed. Backstage, wrestlers who had spent years carving their names into the industry found themselves just as stunned as the audience. Some were skeptical. Was this a publicity stunt? Others whispered admiration, impressed by her composure and undeniable skill. The uncertainty only added fuel to the frenzy. Television crews scrambled for interviews, but security kept a tight shield around her. The mystery deepened. Why had she appeared so suddenly? What was the connection between Seagal's guarded personal life and this explosive debut? By the end of the night, one thing was clear. The match might have ended in the ring, but the real spectacle had just begun. Fans and insiders alike were left grasping for answers, hungry to uncover what lay behind this shocking revelation. If the backstage chaos was intense, the storm online was nothing short of a tidal wave. Within hours, clips of her entrance and first match spread across social media like wildfire. On YouTube, fan uploads racked up hundreds of thousands of views. Each one swarmed with comments that revealed a global audience struggling to process what they had just witnessed. Some were skeptical to the core. I was almost convinced until the AI image of HHH looked like a young rock. One viewer wrote, their comment sparking dozens of replies. Another demanded, "It didn't happen. Prove it right now." Their disbelief echoed through thread after thread. Others, though, were swept away by admiration. One fan typed simply, "Beautiful," plus discation, while another confessed, "I believe that you should always make your legacy your own." Even confusion played a role, as skeptics questioned fictional names and details. Bianca Blaze? Who the hell is that? Get your facts straight. The debates grew heated, but that only amplified the hype. Across Reddit, TikTok, and Instagram Reels, the reactions blended into one massive chorus of shock and speculation. "When was this? Where is she now?" asked one viewer, perfectly capturing the mix of awe and curiosity rippling through the fandom. By morning, hashtags linking Steven Seagal and WWE dominated trending lists worldwide. The story had leapt beyond the ring. It was no longer just a wrestling debut, but a cultural moment that had fans freezing, replaying, and arguing in disbelief. Did you ever think Steven Seagal had a daughter stepping into WWE? This is just the beginning of her story, and the twists only get crazier from here. Don't miss what happens next. Hit subscribe now, turn on the bell icon, and join us as we uncover the truth behind wrestling's most shocking debut.